iPhone SE, the review. Shall we call it the perfect compromise? Maybe so. What is the iPhone SE? For the sake of the review, here are the specs. It's an iPhone 8 body. It's got the newest chip inside. It's got Touch ID. It doesn't have Face ID. It's smaller. It's made of aluminum, not stainless steel. We'll get into more of that later. The iPhone SE has come out at a time when there are more great inexpensive phones than ever, and buying a used phone from a service like Amazon Renewed, check out my series of Amazon Renewed videos, re-reviews of old phones somewhere. The iPhone SE does come with some compromises, which isn't something you typically see from Apple, but is the iPhone SE worth consideration for folks who are looking for a new phone? Let's get into this review and discuss. The experience of using the iPhone SE is a little bit of a blast from the past. It's been a few years since the iPhone X came out, and since then, a lot of iPhone users have gotten used to carrying bigger phones. The iPhone X, XS, 11 Pro, they all have 5.8-inch screens, and then there are the Plus models and the Max models and all those kinds of things. But the iPhone SE has a 4.7-inch screen. That's a pretty big difference from what is normal these days, but it's not altogether an unpleasant experience. In the couple of weeks I've had this phone and used it, the novelty of having a phone that comfortably fits in my hand actually hasn't worn off all that much. I like holding it. It's like holding a baby. Every time you pick it up, it kind of feels special. But the bonus of the iPhone SE is there's no poop. Basically, for those of you who have been in hibernation for the past 3 months, the iPhone SE is, as I said, the iPhone 8 body with the current insides of the current models of the iPhones, with a few differences here and there. One less camera lens, 2 less camera lenses if you're talking about the Pros. It's not a perfect one-to-one version of an iPhone compared to those phones, but it's close enough. And since when does Apple do close enough? By capitalizing on a bunch of efficiencies in manufacturing, I'm going to guess, it couldn't have been as costly to make more iPhone 8 bodies compared to retooling a whole factory to make an entirely new body, for example. Apple has put themselves somewhere they've never really been before. They're a valid contender for the pockets of folks who can't or won't spend over $500 on a phone. Yes, the iPhone SE is a phone of compromises. While the more expensive iPhones have triple camera arrays and OLED screens, as well as battery life that one can only describe as magical, the SE has one camera lens. It's a good camera lens. I mean, it's good. It takes really good pictures, but it's a compromise compared to the top of the line. Again, I gotta say that word. Compromise. The screen, as many people point out, is LCD, and its total resolution does not add up to full high definition. That doesn't matter much. I've been impressed with the iPhone SE screen, and for its size, I think only the most keen-eyed of pixel peepers could ever tell a difference. It's not as vibrant as an OLED screen, but then again, that's not to say it's not vibrant, because it is. Whether the smaller size is of value is down to your personal taste, whether or not you want Touch ID over Face ID, down to your personal taste, whether the bezels bother you, personal taste. I typically use phones with screens that have like 2 inches over the iPhone SE, but I honestly never felt like I was missing out on anything. The smaller screen just means you pull it closer to your face. I mean, it's not like you put a 24-inch TV in a 20 by 20 room when you really should have a larger one. Use your arms. Get closer. Right? Another plus about the smaller screen is the rectangular shape of the screen itself, uninterrupted by notches or pinholes or teardrops or any of those things. When was the last time we had a new iPhone with a fully rectangular screen? Well, I mean the iPhone 8, which is what this is for all intents and purposes, but that was 3 years ago. The iPhone 8 was 3 years old, and the iPhone SE is now basically a current phone. The overall experience of using the iPhone SE is a very good one. I actually found myself asking myself through this trial period, like, could I ditch the larger phones I typically use and use this phone as my personal phone? Because I always have an iPhone, I always have an Android phone. For the most part, the answer is yes, which surprised me. Smaller screen doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would. The camera takes very good photos, and the overall experience of using this phone is basically the experience of using an iPhone, but there is one place where the iPhone SE falls short, and it's the reason the iPhone SE will not become my iPhone. Battery life. Smaller iPhones have always struggled with battery life, and while there are ways around that, like the hideous battery case that Apple released a few years ago, after using the 2019 iPhones, no matter which one it was, the Pro Max, the 11, whatever dark magic they're spinning in there to get the battery life like I never experienced on any other phone, not just an iPhone, any other phone. The iPhone SE reminded me, unfortunately, what it was like again to live with battery anxiety, and it's not a pleasant experience. The battery wasn't always a problem. On light use days, and maybe this works for you, I went to bed with plenty of battery left, but I also kind of spread my use of screens across a bunch of different screens throughout the day. If the iPhone SE was my primary screen, the one that I was looking at the most all the time, then it likely would have been dead by 7 or 8 p.m. every day and need a recharge. And that's the biggest compromise you'll make when you buy the iPhone SE. The size, the screen, the camera, they're all fine, they're nice even, but the battery life could be, maybe is, the deal breaker. All that said, I still think the iPhone SE will sell more than any other iPhone this year. I mean, honestly, it might sell more than any other single model of phone this year in total. Honestly, it might sell more than any other phone at all this year. But the big flaw in the Pearl is the battery. The word is we're going to see an iPhone SE Plus next year based on the iPhone 8 Plus, and if you want a larger screen or if battery life is really important to you, it might make sense to wait, but that might be in the spring, we don't really know. In these unsure times, who knows how well plans will hold into the next year and beyond. We can't even be sure we're getting an iPhone 12 this year. I mean, we probably will, but there's a possibility, they're pushing it back. The iPhone SE is a great phone, and it's going to bring a lot more people into the iPhone Fold and be a worthy upgrade for those who've been holding out with older phones just to have the Touch ID or whatever the reasoning was. But be ready to manage your battery life if you get one of these guys. If you want to see more Apple, iPhone related videos, check these out in this list over here or wherever it is. And then if you want more tech reviews, commentary, that kind of thing, come back and see me again. Subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and we'll talk again more later. Thanks so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. My name's Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out!